Yo, King of the Pit TV, what's good, people? Signing in with a few ditties, alright? We got Stranger in the Alps, Phoebe Bridges' debut album. Always fascinating to hear this sad girl music, alright? As a fan of a good song, as a fan of songwriting, I always find great discussion through these acts and these acts adjacent, alright? I'm gonna put my foot on the brake of being too critical, because I can be from time to time. We're gonna approach this with a light heart. I'm not gonna waste no time. This listen goes out to James, who recommended this over on the Patreon. Let's see what we have in store, shall we? This one's entitled Smoke Signals, alright? We've got 11 tunes ahead of us.
I went with you up to the place you grew up.
This song was written about me, by the way, people.
And we spent a week in the cold, just long enough to waltz in it with you. Any longer it would've got old. Singing Ace of Spades when Lemmy died, but nothing's changed. LA's alright. I'm sleeping in my bed again and getting in my head, and then walk around the reservoir.
Oh, someone says here with no acknowledgement, no responses, no thumbs or no thumbs down. Cool ghost colour. Hint, she's dead. Oh, what if Phoebe Bridges is a ghost?
You must have been looking for me, sending smoke signals, pelicans circling, burning trash out on the beach. One of your eyes is
2017.
always half shut. Something happened when you were.
Produced by Tony Berg. I think we listened to another record not so long back that was produced by Tony Berg. Can't put my finger on
a
who.
kid. I didn't know you then, and I'll never understand why it feels like I did.
A good element of this style of songwriting is how they minimize a maximum instrumental. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we've got these three-piece bands with big roaring electric guitars and incredible low-frequency droning bass guitars and powerful drums. And there's so much, and rock bands in general, and instrumentally, they're so much more minimal and have less tools to deal with than these songwriters. Because these songwriters have a surprising amount of assistance as far as the instrumental spectrum is concerned, yet they just allow them to blend into the soundscape as opposed to stand bold asking for your attention, because the attention should be raised to the lyrical content and the writer, well, not the writer, but the singer of the song. So we've got little string moments coming in and out. We've got a single kick going there, ever so faint in the background. We've got the repetitive drone of the broken chord. And it builds, it builds, it builds. I bet you by the end of this song, there's a lot more going on in the instrumental than what we got now.
How soon is it now?
Oh, the audacity has somewhat grown, you know?
You slept inside of it because your dad lived in a campground in the back of a van. You said that song will creep you out until you're dead. And you...
Right, I'm going to have to pause this for a moment because Common Revolt did a video entitled The Disappearance of Phoebe Bridgers. And considering someone in the comments section has said she's dead, I'm just going to check something out for a moment. Hold on. Okay, so it says she's taken a step away from the spotlight. Fair play, fair play. Do you know what? When artists do this, not to say that this is the case, but when an artist does this, of this stature, she could be also writing for other artists, right? Ghost writing. Pardon the pun, alright?
Must have been looking for me, sending smoke signals, pelicans circling, burning trash out on the beach. I wanna live at
This album cover is a unique blend of woke LGBT and Confederate Grand Wizard. Oh, jeez, we got 4 responses. Oh, no. We got 4 replies. Oh. Don't bring politics here. I spoke of this. We did a listen. Oh my God! The account says, I love this song. I don't love its title. There is no other way to put this. This is appropriation. You do not make smoke signals. You took this and made this a metaphor. People get worked up. This is projection. People get worked up over what appropriation means. It's not complicated. You are profiting off of something that you divorced from its literal ground. Oh my flipping days. Thumb down that shit. Just grow up. Oh my God. People find anything to be offended by. I wonder if this person's felt any real pain in life. Do you know what I mean? Because trust me, you know what I mean? Maybe you need to expand your horizons a little bit. Someone says that's how metaphor works. Someone says, TF, are you talking about? What she's referring to is Native American culture. Yo, let me just say, any culture across the world, fuck them all, alright? Don't give a fuck. Anyway, that was edgy, alright? I don't like softness, man. I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong place, evidently, if that annoys me. Don't get me wrong, alright? But I was going to comment on this. So it says, the album cover is a unique blend of woke LGBT, and we listened to Pavement last, and I went on a bit of a tangent in relation to the word woke, because I was speaking on linguistics, and I was speaking of cultures, I was speaking on how in the music sense, the labels and whatnot and those who want to dictate a message and use music to socially engineer certain cultures to behave in a particular way, which works, right? And it happens, right? Let's not be naive here. And the rap culture is that to promote you too can own this big stack of fiat finance, this big stack of IOU paper, right? If you aspire to be like me and promote shitting on your doorstep, promote selling drugs to your community, promote beefing with people who look like you, And this interlinks with, you know, Freudian psychology in relation to the father or absence of the father and the consistent promotion of such and how that affects the psyche and all of that bad stuff and how this is weaponized to destroy communities and to influence particular communities. Let's take rap out of the picture. I went and watched flipping... Who was it? The Lumineers, and I'm looking at the crowd. I'm like, whoa, this is a market of people coming together to enjoy the same band. Imagine if this band came out with a political statement, they would influence all of the people in this room together to particularly to you know, to engineer them to go in a particular direction. Isn't that powerful? Isn't that powerful? And anyway, I digress. I say that to say this: the word woke, like the linguistic thing of calling your thinking it's good to be real, and by being real, that means hurting other people, killing other people, going to prison, not getting a job but selling drugs. That's to be a real person in particular cultures, all right? Not to disrespect any culture. I'm just saying as far as what the music expresses and how we can call each other dogs. That's my dog. Reducing them to whatever you reduce them to, and calling your women bitches and so on and so forth, which links to pimp culture, and it links with, you know, they took it from the aristocracy because the bitches and the hoes and stuff, and the structural hierarchy interlinks with aristocracy and stuff like that. So that's where they got their linguistics from. But this use of words and changing it. So woke initially meant to have your third eye open. It initially meant to be awoken, to be awoke to the nonsense, and to be arguably a bit of a conspiracy theorist, or what you should call them, a critical thinker, right? Because conspiracy theorist in itself has been utilised to speak on someone who's a bit of a nut job, when actually it's the counter opposite. And now woke is being used in a completely ridiculous manner to label the left wing and progressive politics. And I don't know how that is a term that's now been attached onto that, but it's a, you know, a deterioration of what it once was, and now it just makes no sense. You know what I mean? If you, for example, are a right-wing individual and you say, I hate them woke people, it's like, well, what are you then, asleep? Like, it's not a term, it's not a derogatory term, is it really? It's quite the positive. Sorry for that, people. I went on a West one, but we're here to discuss, aren't we? I tell you, these acts create great discussion. Whether you like it or hate it, right? Whether you love it or hate it, these acts, to me, create great discussion because they engage emotionally with a market, as opposed to saying, oh, I love the guitars, oh, I love the drums. Instead, it's like, these lyrics speak to me. This person speaks to me. So there's a very human engagement here, and I love that. I love that.
Watch TV while the lights on the street put all the stars to death. It's been on my mind since Bowie died, just checking out.
Don't go making no smoke signals, by the way, people. You'll end up setting someone on fire.
And all of our problems I'm gonna solve.
Look at how the rainbow hits the head there.
Shotgun, speeding 'cause fuck the cops.
The rainbow is symbolic in many ways.
You must have been looking for me, sending smoke signals, pelicans circling, burning trash out on the beach. I buried a hatchet, it's coming up lavender. The future's unwritten, the past is a corridor. I'm at the exit, looking back through the hall. You are anonymous, I am a concrete wall.
just got a 15-minute video out of the first song, so this entire listen through goes out to James, who recommended this on the Patreon. We're going to be discussing this. Comment section is going to get me laughing, I'm telling you. I hope we get some more socially correct commentary, to be honest with you. That'd be very pleasing. But that was the introduction. Quite a westernized guitar there, like a cowboy western. Bong bong bong, like the Shadows, you know. That was the introduction. You might comment saying, oh, why didn't you reference the lyrical content and so forth? Because I'm more of an instrumental sort of dude. I'm a guitarist at heart, you know. Well, prior to the guitars, I started learning the drums, so I pay attention to the instrument before the lyric. Lyric is like low on the totem pole there. All right, we got Motion Sickness coming up next. King of the Pit TV, Stranger in the Alps is what we're listening to by Phoebe Bridgers. This is track number 2 entitled Motion Sickness. Let's jump in. A little more movement to this one. A good polarization from the last track. Let me tell you some songwriting inside knowledge, yeah? As far as pop music and correct songwriting is concerned, i.e. what the writers of pop do, okay? The mainstream music you listen to, yeah? Only a lady can get away with this introductory line. Pay attention. I hate you for what you did, alright? Don't get me wrong, anyone can write whatever they want in a creative sense, okay? But as far as mainstream pop writing is concerned, you're not gonna hear any men having successful songs or having songs written for them by co-writers that start like that, okay? Because this lady, Phoebe Bridgers, I'm not going to say why or why not she writes, because she writes for her own particular reason and she'll have her own story. But to put the bottom line, right? I don't make these rules. This is the foundation of at least what pop writing used to be. Let's call it up to a decade ago, all right? I'm not plugged in 2026. But you're taught by the professionals. Like I said, this isn't my opinion, so don't cast judgment on me. This is what the professionals do. The songwriters behind the scenes, they write for women. They don't write for men. When you hear these love songs and blah 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 blah, the woman can't do no wrong. You're not going to hear Ed Sheeran talking about I hate you for what you did. You're not going to hear John Mayer, I hate you for what you did. You're not going to hear One Direction, I hate you for what you did, right? But when it comes to ladies, we're more than happy to write about I'm going to set your house on fire, which is what we had in blasting in the radio over and over for like a minute a couple years back, which is crazy because it's like a man can't write a song like that, okay? Why is that? Well, follow the money. Supposedly, women are the market because women invest the most money, and men follow the women and invest the money on behalf of the women. So if you please the women, you get the best of both worlds, right? That's songwriting on a upper echelon psychological scale, and we can go into the psychology of songwriting and how you write in a particular way and how it affects the people, because me as a listener, I don't want to hear this lady talking about how she hates me. But ladies who listen to this are going to be like, fucking go on. You're speaking for me. I've been screwed over by this guy, and this guy, my love interest, who's given me no attention. It's as if you know who I am. And isn't that deep? And she goes on to say, and I miss you like a little kid. There we go, and we're regressive. Do you know? Not going to go into the Freudian psychology of that one, but...
I faked it every time, but that's alright. I can hardly feel anything.
Here we go. I can't really be the only one here. That quiz about insecurities and trauma. This song brings me unspeakable comfort. This is great songwriting because it correlates with the collective consciousness of the people here, a particular group. 3 years after discovering Phoebe, this particular song still hits the core of my once innocent teenage self. Thank you. Great writing. That's a great line. I have emotional motion sickness. This is a great sound. This is, to me, better than Smoke Signals. Just down to the soundscape, down to the harmony that's created with the big, nice... Is it a synth chord? Yeah, the synthesizers in the background creates just a more fleshed out atmosphere without detracting from the lyrical content, you know? We're not giving too much highlight to the drums there, you know what I mean? Even though we got a nice big build up on the drums, we're just like, we can't have this powerhouse drummer detract from the main focal point of the act, which is the vocal line. That was Motion Sickness. Yeah, that was a good tune. It was a nice sound. And it definitely progresses from track number 1. We got Funeral, track 3 coming up next. See you there? Yes, now, bless now, people. Let's not forget the rest. Now, we're speaking about songwriting tonight. We're speaking about Phoebe Bridgers with her album Stranger in the Alps. This is the debut, 2017, I do believe this was put out. Shout out to the sad girls and sad boys alike who are fascinated in this particular style of music, and it connects with them. This entire list through goes out to James, who recommended this on the Patreon, so do not thank me. Thank James. Let's go. This one's entitled Funeral. Lovely playing that.
I'm singing at a funeral tomorrow for a kid a year older than me, and I've been talking to his dad. It makes me so sad when I think too much about it. I can't breathe, and I have this dream where I'm screaming underwater.
Someone's given 100 reasons to stay alive. Oh, should we? Oh, mate. Number one, to make your parents proud, alright? I mean, I'm already disputing the first one. Like, what imperative do I have? I didn't choose to be here. Why have I got to live for the sake of somebody else? Parents or not, eh? You know, the Christians would disagree, as one must honour thy mother and father, of course. To see your family again. What if you're a black sheep, though? Do you know what I mean? Don't project your own wants and needs upon the people. To have your own children so they can worship me as their first reason to stay alive. That sounds like a good idea. You see that? We're going full circle now. To adopt your own pet. Maybe I don't believe in taking animals outside of their natural habitat. I don't wish to play God, okay? Don't get me wrong. I do like cats. I adore cats. I've never owned a dog. Sorry if you want to listen to the music, people. I'm engaging with the Phoebe Bridgers fan base here, alright? I'm giving you your money's worth, don't you worry. To meet your idols. Nope, don't have idols. I don't worship the common man or woman. No, they are no different to us, alright? We do not idolise over here at King of the Pit TV. To laugh until you cry. Now, that's something I would agree is worth living for. Man, last time I did that, I mean, I didn't cry, but I laughed heartily. I can't remember what it was I was consuming, but I saw something that made me laugh, or I was... Oh, I know exactly what it is, but I can't talk. I can't talk on it. You see, it's lighting me up like a light bulb now. To get a tattoo, each to their own. To meet your internet friends, I'd say I'd give it a thumbs up just for the cuteness of it, but I'm not gonna.
While my friends are waving from the shore, and I don't need you to tell me what that means. I don't believe in that stuff anymore. Jesus Christ, I'm so blue all the time, and that's just how I feel. Always have, and I always will. I always have and always will.
I'll be real, yeah, because no doubt Phoebe Bridgers was relatively young during the recording of this. If any young people are watching this video and they feel the same, I feel blue all the time, maybe you suffer from a degree of depression or so on and so forth, trust me, right? I didn't used to say depressed. I used to say I'm in my bubble, right? Because you feel numb to emotion, or at least I did. That was my depressive expression. I was not happy, not sad, not joyful, not shocked, not surprised, not nothing. I was in my bubble, right? It was an absence of emotion. It was a defensive mechanism, probably rooted in my childhood and its manifestation of me going through the emotional turmoil of that was adolescence and the surge of hormones, right? Now, as a grown man, right? Not only do you learn to understand yourself, given you don't act on the way you feel, because my expressions of emotional instability could have got me into more trouble than it did, right? To a point where I just think of certain circumstances and I'm triggered because you attach certain situations with the way you were feeling, and I'm triggered because I've, through expressions of anger, all right, gotten myself into disputes of a physical nature that fortunately didn't result in me being harmed to a degree that I could have, all right? And I speak on, you know, I don't like bullies, right? And anytime I identified, when I was younger, I stood up and defended a lot of people who couldn't do it for themselves, and I regret doing that because they would have never done it for me, and they never did do it for me. But I got into a lot of trouble for the sake of other people, and I was an explosive kid. But as you grow up, you start to look back to your younger self, understand where it stemmed from. You know, I was around a few arguments when I was younger and whatnot, and it's all rooted in your subconscious and whatnot. I was, you know, I didn't have the easiest upbringing, but a lot of people have got worse upbringings than me, so it's not worth me ranting and raving about. But that's where it manifests in my younger rebellious self to my 20s, right? And to put a long story short, it gets easier to handle and you become more stable as time goes on, given you do the inner work of trying to find understanding of why you are, what you are. Have a look externally to the nutrition, what you're consuming, to the media you're consuming. You know, me personally, if I'm a sad person, I wouldn't recommend finding solace in further sad music and engaging in this echo chamber of negative low frequency emotion. And of course your brain reacts to what you consume on a nutritional basis and your body chemistry. So, you know, I'm not a professional in that regard, so I can't tell you, but it is what it is. But I crack a few jokes and stuff, but I'm into punk rock music because I associate with angry people, right? Frustrated, youthful essence. It gets easier.
When I've bored myself to tears, and we talk until we think we might just kill ourselves, but then we laugh until it disappears. And last night I blacked out in my car, and I woke up in my childhood bed, wishing I was someone else, feeling sorry for myself.
And I speak of nutrition, and I speak of living in a natural means, which is just one piece of a major large puzzle to say, controversially, if you're going through something, try a few things aside from going on the pills, all right? That's really the message I kind of wanted to indirectly get across there. Yeah, Don't start too early with the tablets, man.
When I remembered someone's kid is dead.
If they worked that well, the pharmaceutical business would not be generating revenue, okay?
Jesus
I've seen many of
Christ,
people
I'm so
fall victim
blue all the time.
of consumption of
That's just
pharmaceuticals.
how I feel, always have, and I always will. I always have and always will.
Beautiful guitars on this track.
It's 4 a.m. again, and I'm doing nothing.
I can relate to that. It's 2:30 here in the morning. I'm a crazy night owl. But that correlates with depression and depressive experience because naturally you're outcasted. And when you have a lack of society and a lack of human communication and correlation, it becomes isolating. And I can speak for men who find privilege and independence, and I would say biologically are more predisposed to being the independent of the human species. We don't talk to other people enough, and when we don't talk to other people, we can fall into a state of depression because we become isolated, and it's a poisonous space to be, isolation. It's a good tune. It's a good tune. It's always striking when you hear a song that speaks in such a definitive value about the bleak nature of the human condition. There was a song called, was it like Small Bump or something? Ed Sheeran did on his first record when it had a little more of a folky vibe to it prior to his pop music success. And it was quite a deep song in itself, you know, because songwriters rarely come forward with bold statements. The idea of performing at a funeral is so bleak because I was thinking about it. And I was thinking, you wouldn't want to take, or you shouldn't want to take the spotlight away from those who need the remembrance. But at the same time, if you are somebody who that person adored and would have been over the moon to have present at that event, then it would be worthwhile, right? It's a sad situation. We've got Demi Moore coming up next. Wowzers. Take a date back to your mums. Let's go. King of the Pit TV signing in. Plenty of room for discussion on this album. We're having a whale of a time. Stranger in the Alps is the record, and track 4 is entitled Demi Moore. Track 4, Demi Moore. I'm a poet and I don't even know it. Let's jump in, shall we? Abby Barnier says, perfect song for a quiet rainy day, underrated. For days when you feel a little alone, feeling like you're not enough or maybe a little too much for others. Fantastic. The idea of being maybe just a little bit too much for others, I'm sure a lot of people out there do feel that. If you're a friend to all, you're a friend to none. All right? People who have identity, people who have character, and people who are themselves tend to be a little more societally isolated than those who have to put a mask on, who daren't expose their true selves to the world, so they're everybody's friend, you know, whereas there's no genuine connection that's made. Whilst in that performative act, did you know persona is Latin, I believe, has a Latin root. The etymology of persona is mask, all right? Those whom have a persona, you know?
Take a dirty picture, babe. I can't sleep and I miss your face in my hands and in my knees. Tell me what you wanna do to me. Tell me what you'll do, please. I don't wanna be alone. Don't wanna be alone anymore. It got quiet on the other line. Said the sun was coming up and I laughed until I couldn't breathe. Now I'm too tired to go to sleep. Now I can't breathe and I can't sleep. I don't wanna be stoned. I don't wanna be stoned anymore. I don't wanna be alone.
Sounds a little bit, this bit. Listen, it sounds a little bit like Elliott Smith. The vocal.
Don't wanna be alone. Don't wanna be alone anymore.
That anymore sounds like Elliott Smith. Sarah says, can you believe a Phoebe Bridgers song got nominated for an Oscar? Let me tell you, them trophies are nonsense. They're bought, they're political. There's no value to all of that shite. It's all marketing. Men I Trust says, this is exactly how Grindr feels to me. 2 replies. They mean how on Grindr you take dirty pictures just to feel wanted and not feel lonely, which is exactly what Phoebe depicts in the song. It's the man's mind, right? We think with our eyes, unfortunately.
It doesn't happen.
Not me, though. I'm different. I'm not like the rest of the men, okay? Here we go. Look, the female Elliott Smith. I'll give you a thumbs up for that. Don't tell me I don't know my music, people. I might rant and rave and I had someone hating on me. I was checking for... Sorry, I get busy, so like as far as comment sections are concerned, every few months I'll just try and go through and respond to everyone over the course of a few days. And somebody says, oh my God... 3 seconds toward the end, he made his first comment on the song, and other than that, he was ranting and raving. Bruh, don't you worry about the ranting and raving. Just know, I know this game to a T, alright? Don't get me gassed. 6 replies. I love this so much because apparently she loves his music. So much that her song Punisher is about it. Okie dokie. That's surprisingly really accurate, says Coaster Guy. Now, this music... isn't generally like Elliott Smith's, but there was a tinge in the vocal line there, you know?
Very often
That was Demi Moore. Reasonable. Nothing much more to say. Scott Street coming up next. Yes, now bless now people, King of the Pit TV. We're listening to Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridgers, alright? Scott Street is the title of this one, and from what I saw in the related videos, 37 million views on this. Pretty good to say there's no visual, eh? Track 5 or 11, this entire listen through the album goes out to James, who recommended this on the Patreon. Let's go. James C, not to be confused with James Charles, people, alright? But if it is James Charles, give me a makeup tutorial, yeah? Tell me how to sort my blusher out, you know? Sounds like a Noel Gallagher bit.
Walking Scott Street feeling like a stranger, with an open heart, open container.
Love has no limits. Good title for the comment. Says, one day someone will love you the way you deserve to be loved, and you won't have to fight for it. Maybe that won't happen. Sorry to break it to you people. I'm only joking, of course they will. But you have to go out and meet people, you know? You can't stay inside and expect it to happen. Or at least get yourself on them dating apps, you know? She got a tune called Nothing Else Matters. I wonder if that's a Metallica cover. Because it's a Metallica ballad, you know?
Spending money and I earned it. When I'm lonely, that's when I'll burn it. Do you feel ashamed?
Jack Rowlands has got a story to tell that maybe you might feel, alright? This song screams out returning to your childhood town, reminiscing of all the good times, your old friends, your old high school, the house you grew up in, your favourite cafe, flashbacks of nostalgia. I'm 26 now and recently moved back home after dropping out of university. All my friends are in settled relationships with kids and in good jobs / finished their degrees. They've all moved on with their lives and I feel like I'm stuck in my childhood listening to my favourite retro songs, walking blah de blah de blah. You know what? It's not about degrees, it's not about jobs where you can get a credit, a number in your bank account. Relationships are powerful, yeah, and I'm sure, you know, given you're proactive, which you are doing, leaving healthy, expressive comments on YouTube and whatnot, which has garnered the reception of 264 thumbs up and 7 responses, so you're able to communicate and engage with people in an effective manner, right? The proof is in the pudding. But look at life as this, right? This is but a vessel we reside in. When this deteriorates and is no more, that which where our conscious stems joins the grand picture with the further information that it's inhabited whilst we've been here on planet Earth. So go out and express yourself, have experiences, go left, right and centre. Don't worry about the materials, don't worry about the qualifications and the titles and all of that. It means nothing. The experience and the life you live is what you need to go and experience, you know? Given you don't have the qualifications, of course, you know. Don't worry about that shit. But you do get a qualification to go and have a boss. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Your boss doesn't care about qualifications. The owner of a business doesn't care about qualifications.
I heard you got her degree. I said that makes me feel old. You said what does
Lovely
that
little,
mean?
is that a violin, what we heard?
I asked you you how it's playing drums. He said it's too much shit to carry.
Sounds like the scraping of a gate.
He said they're all getting married. Do you feel ashamed when you hear my name?
Oh my god! What? I almost projectile vomited at the wall of text. Oh my days. It's got 1.4k up likes. Although I don't question the beautiful message that is within this block, how can you? I feel sick. I literally feel sick. Lovely little melody. What does that remind me of? Hoo-doo-doo-doo. It reminds me of another song. Something a little more major tonality, something a little more upbeat, like a 90s pop rock tune. I can't put my finger on it. I'm going to tell you something very cool when this finishes about this song. Nice little noodle on the bass guitar there. Ooh, very nice playing there. Right, this is what I want to say, yeah? When the vocal line came atop of the hoo 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 bit, and we were swelling and intensifying, I'm not gonna lie to you people, I felt a shiver in my forehead. Oh, do you know when you feel something? It's been a long, long time since I've felt something towards a piece of music, because I'm listening to this, I'm like, all right, it's another Phoebe Bridgers track, for whichever purpose. It's got 37 million views. I suppose it might have been put in a soundtrack somewhere, or it just is, you know, the one that's caught fire on this sequence of songs. But as we got to that outro section, I thought, all right, maybe this is why it's got so many listens. And I really enjoyed the, you know, the vocal hook there. And then when the other vocal came in and we were jamming, it did make a genuine connection. And I don't get that often on this channel, you know? I might feel one way or another. I might get gassed up listening to a metal riff or something. But it's rare that I feel a shiver of some sorts, you know? I think, you know, evolutionarily, if you abide by that particular theory, the shiver raises the hairs on the skin, and supposedly that correlates with our ancestry as to where we had more hair on our bodies, and it would make us look larger in the face of a threat or an emotional trigger. And I felt the shiver of connective frequency there with this song. That was really good. That was really good. That was really good. The utmost of compliments for that outro section there. The utmost of compliments. I really enjoyed that. We've got Killer coming up next, track number 6, yeah? Yes, no, bless no people. Listening to Phoebe Bridgers with their album Stranger in the Alps. Or should I say her album, Stranger in the Alps. This one is entitled Killer, not to be mistaken with Killers by Iron Maiden. I'm sure there's quite the separation in sound. Alright, let's jump in. Track number 6 of 11. Do you know what that first chord is? Listen. Step inside the eye of your mind. Oh, is it slip inside? It's slip inside, isn't it? Most underrated artist says I'm a rose. Nope, that's not true.
Sometimes I think I'm a killer. I scared you in your house. I even scared myself by talking about Dahmer on your couch. But I can't sleep next to a body, even harmless in death. Plus I'm pretty sure I'd miss you and faking sleep to count your breath. Can the killer me tame the fire in you? Or is there nothing left to do for us? I am sick of the chase, but I'm hungry for blood, and there's nothing I can do. But when I'm sick and tired, and when my mind is barely there, when a machine keeps me alive.
I'm going to speak to the Phoebe Bridgers fans here. At some point through the album, does the sadness sort of wear off? Because I've been down and out in my younger teenage years, and I put a few tunes on that have made me feel, well, I'm not going to say have made me feel seen, because that's not the case, has sort of amplified and accentuated that feeling of sadness, all right, in some sort of sadistic way. Oh, what's the term? Not sadistic, masochistic, would that be the correct term? What's the opposite to masochist? Sadomasochist, isn't it? Yeah. So to be a masochist is to enjoy the pain, right? Do you not just pick one or two tunes that sort of really make you feel? Or can you bang a whole album on 11 tracks of sadness, back to back, experiencing it, reliving it? It's a powerful experience. I just could put my phone on charge. That's why I took the headphones off. I'll be back in 1 second, people, yeah?
When a machine keeps me alive and I'm losing all my hair, I hope you kiss my rotten head. She's
going about a machine keeping her alive and losing her hair. I don't know if this is going to be relevant to the lyrical content. Let's just have a look. Yeah, I'm not going to comment. Not going to comment.
Pull the plug.
I was going to talk a little bit of science there, and I've already talked about pharmaceutical companies profiting off of selling you tablets and not necessarily healing the root cause, but more so dealing with the symptoms, and that being the profit machine. Whereas I was actually going to talk about the hospital industry as well there, and you know, they're yeah. It's not worth it, is it? It's not worth it.
Given all my love. Can the killer in me tame the fire in you? I know there's something waiting for us. I am sick of the chase, but I'm stupid in love, and there's nothing I can do, and there's
Nothing more I can do. That was killer. That was killer. We got Georgia coming up next, track number 7. Do you reckon this one's going to be a ska number? Upbeat ska, yeah? King of the Pit TV, track 7 of 11 on Stranger in the Alps is entitled Georgia. We're listening to Phoebe Bridgers tonight, as devoted to the wonderful James over on the Patreon. Thank you for the recommendation. Let's jump in. So, the first chord of Killer was flipping... Slip Inside the Eye of Your Mind, which was... What does that start with? Is it a C? C major, I think it starts with. But here we've got... Listen. What do they call it? Hold... Whoa! Hold on. Hold on. Don't be scared. Which is, what does that? And all of this, which is one of the most underrated Oasis numbers, to be honest. Stop Crying Your Heart Out, which may start with an A minor, perhaps. The key change in that tune is gorgeous.
Georgia, Georgia, I love your son. And when he gets older, he might be the one. He might be the one. Georgia, Georgia, he has beautiful bones, and he never lies.
Epic Bless says, I'm a big fan of poetic metalcore and some pretty gnarly deathcore, and this stuff wrecked my heart. It's nice to have chill, vibey, meaningful stuff that is just as powerful as metal. Metal.
Picks up his
Poetic metalcore.
And sometimes in the pouring rain, he'll fall in the mud and get back up again.
Geroyd Hughes says, I'm not spiritual or religious at all, but those damn chirps hit my soul in the most devastating way. Find God, my friend.
And if you
Find God. God loves y'all, says yours truly, Charlotte. I'll give you a thumbs up.
will you know me?
But God is all, so does God hate me just as much as he loves me? And why am I referring to God as a he? God is
Will
not describable. I believe in the Islamic perspective of God. How can we describe God? God is beyond our comprehension. Or at least should be, you know. That's the God I want to have exist. The highest energy, the source, the effect with no cause, the first cause. Doppelganger Catalogue says, look, I listen to rap artists like ASAP Rocky, JPEG Mafia, Tyler the Creator, etc. I also listen to R&B, like SZA, Frank Ocean, etc. But Phoebe Bridgers in this album is hella underrated. I find it really good, and I don't get the hate to Phoebe. Who's hating? No one's hating on Phoebe Bridgers. And this album is not underrated. Look at the numbers on the album. For a songwriting project, this is like the creme de la creme. This is the new wave of great songwriters, or at least marketable songwriters, you know?
He came up through the water without a sound. With my back to the shoreline, I dreamt that he drowned. I dreamt that he drowned. And sometimes when he looks at me, I know he needs you. You're all that he sees. And if I breathe you, will it kill me? Will you have me, or watch me fall? If I fix you, will you hate me? And would you fuck this and let us fall?
It's nothing detrimental to the record, but it wasn't the best song on the record. It was alright. It was alright. Little bit of storytelling, you know. What more needs to be said? We've got Chelsea coming up next, track number 8. Yes, now, bless now, people. Let's not forget the rest now. Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridgers is the record we're listening to tonight, / this morning. Track 8 of 11 is entitled Chelsea. Let's go. I'll be real with you, yeah? When you're 8 tracks in, now I'm different, it's my personal taste, because I can listen to 11 tracks over of raging, aggressive shit, or upbeat, major tonality, positive, happy, joyful stuff, but 8 tracks out of 11 so far, and just the depresso espresso of the start of each and every tune, it starts to wear itself a little thin, you know? I know that's what we're getting into with sad girl music and Phoebe Bridgers and whatnot, but the onslaught of non-stop just sort of sad and slow tonality, it becomes a little bit sickening, like eating too much chocolate. You know, there's just an abundance of just negative frequency, you know? at least negative frequency in a space where I don't necessarily, because there's a clash. Because my headspace isn't that which aligns with the message that's been given to me. You know, I can't tune into it. So, well, I can't tune into it without a circumstance that I'm fortunate to not, you know, be affected by to such a degree where these songs touch me right now, you know? So God bless you lot who can listen to 11 songs back to back of morbid songwriting.
Is a deathbed and the music is your maid.
For those who don't know, this song is sung from the point of view of Nancy Spungen, Sid Vicious's infamous girlfriend. This song is titled after the hotel they were staying with when they died. Sid Vicious, absolute fucking scumbag. Sid Vicious, just a nonchalant animal killer. Just killed a cat, like broke a cat's neck. Before other people who saw it happen, and for what reason he did it, I don't know. But yeah, then again, you know, opens up a can of worms. Can you be offended by it if you are a meat eater? A life's a life, right?
Someone comes knocking with a needle on a...
But Sid Vicious should not be supported as a character. He was just a participant of a boy band. There was an original bassist in the Sex Pistols who did a better job musically than Sid Vicious. But considering... I forgot the other member. There was a male involved, but it was a Vivienne Westwood project, wasn't it? Her and somebody else formulated this boy band, like, of course, it's the start of punk rock. It was a project used to sell bondage clothing via Vivienne Westwood. Like, it's all manufactured. Any movement is manufactured by outside forces. So they got an initial bassist who did a good job, and then they were just like, you know what, this guy's got spiky hair and plays the role better. This bad boy we need in the band. So Sex Pistols were a boy band, you know.
For you told me not to stay. You are somebody's baby, some mother held you near. No, it's not important, they're just pretty words, my dear. There is no distraction that can make me disappear. No, there's nothing that won't remind you I will always be right here. And you spit the blood back, baby. I'm amazed that you're alright. Oh, so long, prison boy. I won't be home with you tonight. We're both very sick, our muscles all worn down. It's as if we are 100. No, I won't still be around because I've fallen. Yes, I've fallen right in.
Look at this. I didn't know about this because I don't really give two hoots about the Pistols, but it says here, this lady whom she's singing from the perspective of was found dead from a stab wound in the Chelsea hotel, and Sid was accused of her murder, though he died of an overdose before going to trial. I mean, in relation to what I just said, is there not a correlation between people who mindlessly kill animals and then go on to kill people?
To the love I found long before I reach 100, I'll fall into the ground. And for generations they'll romance us, make us more or much less than ever was before the Chelsea and the floor. Make us stand before
Therapist reacts to Chelsea by Phoebe Bridgers.
And you can call a service back.
Having a title for your employment that is The Rapist is crazy, don't you think? Don't you think? Don't you think therapists need a better name? They need a better job title. There needs to be a better name for the profession. Because that's crazy. Words have power. You can't cast a magical spell without the word, you know? I read a lot about therapy, by the way. It's fascinating. Psychoanalytic therapy and Freudian psychology. I do prefer a bit of Young though, but you know, I'll get onto him when needs be. That was Chelsea. It was an alright little number. What more needs to be said? I feel like the sadness, the dreariness, the misery is starting to wear itself a little bit thin at this point, you know, because we've got a tune entitled Would You Rather, which is track number 9, and it's going to start with a the chord, and we're going to get into another dreary number. And I'll tell you what, it's a time and a place because it's very early in the morning right now and I could do with a pick me up, to be honest. So let's continue onwards. Let's get this album finished. Would You Rather is the title coming up. Yes, now blessed now people, moving onwards in Stranger in the Alps. We're on track number 9 of 11, arguably 9 of 10 because it seems we've just got a little reprise of smoke signals to finish the record off. 33 seconds long. Look into the number 33, alright? Go on YouTube and search Weird 33s. That's a fascinating video you might enjoy, alright? Would You Rather is the title of this one. We're listening to Phoebe Bridgers. Let's move onwards. Oh, lovely. Lovely. I was expecting a mellow, just sort of minor tonality piano chord drenched in reverb. Dun. But this is a lovely way to start this song. This has brightened my day up a little bit. Because I thought we'd just have a beat down of negativity. And it introduces once again that Elliott Smith vocal line.
You always say that you prefer to drown.
Right, I want to raise awareness to something that's weird though. 801,000 views 8 years ago. And there's only 15 comments. That's a bit weird.
You were still in the ambulance.
There's not been a comment left. Well, 8 months ago. Shall we try something out? Right, so comments can be left. Shall I refresh it? See if it's updated.
Can you please just hear me out? No, all work management platforms are the same. Monday.
Right, 16. That's weird. Okay. That's weird. There's something not adding up there, but I'll just leave that there for the people, alright? Obviously, that doesn't detract from the fact that this is a good record and she's got a market, because I was aware of Phoebe Bridgers back during this period because she used to perform and do the branding with the skeleton outfit, didn't she? So it's not like people weren't aware and aren't aware of Phoebe Bridgers, but for whatever purpose, if they shouldn't have just opened the floodgates for the comments, because it says 8 years ago there was a comment. That's just bizarre, right?
Would you rather when it comes to fire? You always say that you prefer to drown.
Give me a thumbs up there.
You were still in the ambulance
is this guy?
You're on the end
We found our way out
of a suicide pact.
Marshall
of
Vaughn.
family and friends.
in the background. I'll be
The representation of the ghost here on the album cover is quite phallic in nature, would you not say? Especially with the rainbow firing from the tip.
We have the same face. I laid away.
Could also be a snake with a snake's tongue.
Someone shoved you up against a wall. Quarantined in a bad dream.
Quarantined in a bad dream. It's a nice name.
Twice as tall. Come to find out.
But Jelly Bean says, I'm so glad I was introduced to good music at such a good age. I had to be growing up listening to Phoebe Bridgers and Connor Oberst. My ex-girlfriend back in the day used to adore Connor Oberst. He's from Bright Eyes, right? Is that right?
I'm a can on a string. You're on the end
We found our way out.
of a suicide pact of our family and
Oh, Connor Oberst is supposedly the guy singing this.
friends.
In the background, I'll be waiting. Next time I see you, you'll show me 100 different ways to say the same things. Come to find out.
I'm a can on a string. You're on the end
We found our way out.
of a suicide pact of our family and
And
friends.
when you touch down, I'll be waving.
Little walk down there. Little walking bass line for the people. That was Would You Rather. That was nice. It was nice to bring the acoustic guitar and a little bit more frequency in the performance. Nice little duet there with an individual whom a lot of people are into, you know, as far as emo adjacent songwriting music is concerned. You Miss My Heart is the last track on this record. See you there. King of the Pit TV, finishing off this record. Stranger in the Alps, track 10 of 11 is entitled You Miss My Heart. We will finish it off with the Smoke Signals reprise at the end, which is track 11. This title listen through goes out to James. Recommended us on the Patreon. This is the longest track on the record at 6 minutes 57. We've had plenty to talk about over this listen through. What a blessing it's been. It's a cover.
Broke into her house, saw her sitting there, drinking coke and whiskey in her bra and underwear.
Interesting. Dr. Monkey Wrench says, yes, 2 year late reply. It's one of the few truly better and reclaimed covers in the songwriting world. What do you think to that? I know Phoebe Bridgers fans will say, yeah, of course it's better than that, but do you think there's any such thing as a cover song that's better than the original? The original is the original. The original is the source from which the covers derive. You can't get more mighty than that, can you really?
So I'm in the kitchen,
There are cover songs I do prefer, though. Don't get me wrong.
I asked him nicely once to pack his things and go. He gave her a reassuring look, said,
Brushstroke 7190 says, first time I heard this song, I wept uncontrollably and it put me into a deep depression for several days. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Honestly, I say to have an emotive connection and have such an influence through your writing is incredibly powerful. But if you were an artist and you knew how bad it felt to feel bad, would you feel any degree of pride in knowing you actively put someone in a depressive state for listening to your music? It's madness, isn't it, really? You wouldn't wish that feeling upon your market. But is it the inevitable reality?
Stuck him in the back and I pulled it out slow, and I watched him fall down, and as the morning sun rose, he looked at me.
Fascinating fan base, I'm not gonna lie.
You missed my heart, you got me good, I knew you would, but you missed my heart, you missed my heart, were his last words before he died. Looking out the window, up at the blue sky, listening to her scream, listening to her cry, a feeling of relief came over my soul. I couldn't take it any longer, and I lost control. I chased her up the stairs and I pinned her to the ground, and underneath her whimpering I could hear a siren sound. I rattled off a list of all the things I miss, like going to the movies with her and the way she kissed me, driving into downtown Wheeling, showing her off, backyard barbecues and reunions in the park. I said I missed her skin when she started laughing, while I clenched down on her wrists. She said that's quite a list, but there's one thing you missed. You missed my heart, you missed my heart. That's quite a list, but what you really missed, you missed my heart, you missed my heart.
Lovely harmonies. We've not had many harmonies on this record, have we? If any, up until this point.
List, but what you really missed. Running through the parking lot, running through the fields, policemen on my back, something hit my skull and cracked. They dragged me off to jail, said $1 million bill where I tried to tie a noose, but I failed.
First comment of any drama here. This 5 years ago, Philp says, this lyric was of course disturbing when Kozelik first released it, but in light of the recent allegations against him, it's almost impossible for me to stomach his recording of it. This is my go-to in its place. 6 replies. LeMayo, it's not like the allegation said he was a murderer. Still a gross guy nonetheless. Plus he's got What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? Plus he's got Alzheimer's. Why is that a plus? Well, I hope you don't have the misfortune of getting Alzheimer's and people say, well, that adds on to his shit character. What was the accusations? Nobody going to mention? Yeah. Well, truth of the matter is, Philp, as you listen to Phoebe Bridges' variation of the song, the royalties do go to the original songwriter, so you're paying him, okay?
And I broke loose. I went racing through the prison yard, shot down by a tower guard. He got me in the shins, and he got me in the arms. They strapped me in the gurney, took me off to the infirmary, where the priest read my last rites. And just before everything went dark, my heart, he got me good. I knew he would, but he missed my heart. He missed my heart. And just before everything went dark, the most poetic dream came flowing like the sea, laying there, my lifeblood draining out of me. A childhood scene, night sky moonbeams, fishing with my friends, sitting in the wild reeds, watching the Ohio River flow at night, waiting for the bullhead catfishes to bite. Down river from the Moundsville prison graveyard. Down river from the Moundsville prison graveyard. Down river from the Moundsville prison graveyard. Down river from the Moundsville prison graveyard.
My opinion on this one is,
Down river from the Moundsville prison
as always,
graveyard.
I'm not a lyrical guy, alright? And as far as storytelling is concerned, bruh, I read facts and figures. I don't read fiction books. I don't read stories. I'm not fascinated in hearing it in song form. And it was a cover song, so in comparison and contrast to the original, I can't really compare, you know, but it's not the original. So I have a limitation in how I can, you know, kind of comment on that number. Very, 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 very lyrically based song. Minimal instrumental. Not to a detriment, because the whole point is to listen out to the story and hear about, you know, the story the original songwriter had to say. But with that being said, that's what the original songwriter had to say. So it's nothing but just an indirect marketing scheme via Phoebe to spread his song elsewhere. That's it. Let's just have a quick deek of Smoke Signals. Look at this, Quaker Oats, yeah? $234,000 views on this. Amazing. Why are there barely any comments, asks Seraphina 1 year ago. Why has this got 234,000 views and 9 comments? You may wonder, as I wonder. I'm going to do one last video. I'm going to give you my final overview of this record as a whole, and I'll rate it out of 10 for you. I'll see you there. Yes, now, bless now, people. Don't forget to rest now, King of the Pit TV, signing in and signing out with our final overview and review of the album Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridges. It was recommended over on the Patreon by James. Thank you very much, James. I admire the recommendation, as it was a nice change from the norm. little bit of songwriting, and the brilliance on these songwriter, like literal singer-songwriter based records, not just like songwriting rooted like rock bands or guitar bands and so forth, like a literal singer-songwriter record, is that it opens up plenty of room for discussion because it connects emotively with the audience, which is brilliant because it allows us to engage with what other people are saying. And I just like the mechanics of songwriting. I like the essence. I like the fact that all that is Western music at this point is rooted within the song first and foremost. It's the seed that creates the money, right? From an industrial standpoint. This was a sad girl record. No surprise, you're here because you like Phoebe Bridgers. You know very well what we were dealing with. 10 tracks, 11 tracks literally, but we had a little outro number which I wouldn't classify as a song of any sort. It just like a little polish on the end there, so call it 10 tracks. Well produced record. It was the debut record. It's a very, very, very consistent in its energy. And being someone who isn't necessarily in the headspace or the target audience for this style of music, you know, over my years, I've become a little bit more thick-skinned in relation to my emotional connection with music. I've become a little bit more primitive in the sense that I like a pulse, you know, I like a beat. And I like a high energy, high frequency, simplistic, less than artistic product. That's to the benefit of what I'm going to say. That's to the benefit of this record, because what I'm saying is that there's a lot more depth in this record. There's a lot of effort. There's a emotive value, connection, and application of which I don't necessarily correlate with too much anymore, but can understand my younger self would appreciate the project, given I was going through the trials and tribulations of my first relationship and so forth. I would sort of get into a little bit more. I'd feel it a bit more. I'd be the market to whichever degree. Don't get me wrong, it's a female front, so I wouldn't be able to correlate as much as if it was a male going through their problems, because I don't go through the, you know, issues to 100% degree as I would do with a fella going through his troubles. But we had an onslaught of, for lack of better terms, mopey music, sorrowful tones, and it did wear itself a little bit thin on me by the 8th track, 7/8 track. It became a bit taxing. The songwriting is brilliant. The development in the production is brilliant, because it's a great endeavour to create a project that needs differentiation. You know, different instrumentation in each track, different structure each track, but keep it fresh without having the instrumental detract from the main focus, which is the lyrical content and the message in the vocal. So slowly and surely and foundationally, Phoebe and the crew and the production team and the band and whatnot work together to create a brilliant means of establishing that musical foundation beneath each and every song in a very full and adequate sense without detracting from the voice. There was a tune entitled Scott Street, which the outro section, I would argue it was like a bridge if not an outro section, the last section of that song, it made me feel a sort of way. It made me feel a tingle, it made me feel a shiver. And I can't remember the last time in this particular manner I felt that way when listening to a song, listening to music. So that is the utmost, biggest celebration I can exclaim when it came to my relationship with this experience listening to this record. What a positive to literally feel a connection on that level. So for somebody who is going through something, maybe a little bit younger, going through this, that, and the third, and really agrees and gets along with the music and the message, wow, I only just got a little taste of what the target audience could experience. I appreciate the brilliance in this album, the depth, no doubt the investment in both time and financially, because it was a good sounding product that has been invested into this. Out of 10, I'll rate it a 7, okay? As far as the brilliance of the record, in a musical sense, it's really good. But I would have to detract just in relation to my particular tastes and what I got from the record. I wouldn't listen to this album again because I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to hear somebody who's having a sad time or expressing a tonality of sadness, be it indirect or not. That's not to say I am looking down upon that expression, because I like a pretty low frequency expression. I like angry music, you know? So it's not just I'm in pursuit of uplifting music, most definitely not. But this particular expression of sadness, if not through the lyric, through the actual soundscape, the lesser tempo, the real backed tempo, and the atmosphere that's created in the instrumental, I'm going to have to just sort of meet you halfway, and I'll give you a 7 out of 10 for there. So that should give you insight as to how high I actually value the product as a whole, if I'm to detract from that and it still result in 7. I'm signing out. Peace.